Hi, this is Kerry with Multicopter Warehouse, and today we've got the new Mavic 3. So we're going to take a look at what's inside the box and some of the features and maybe a little bit of footage and see what you think. And then in a few days we'll have the Fly More combo and then we'll show you that one. But today we just have the base unit Mavic 3, and we open it up and we've got the aircraft. We've got some cables and stuff here. We have the regular remote control. So we'll take out the aircraft and we can see there's an extra pair of props in here. And we have the remote control, the same that we've seen lately with like the Mavic Air 2S and stuff. So good controller there. We got some quick start guides. We have our charger, which is surprisingly small for a DJI charger. It's 65 watts and it has USB-C. So we'll talk about that in a moment. And then we have some USB cables and some remote control cables. So that's it for what's inside the box. There you have it. Thanks for watching. Now, all right, let's talk about a couple of these things here since I have them out. The charger also has a USB-A port on it, so you can plug in another cable to charge the remote while you're charging the aircraft. And this will plug into the 3-port charging hub that is available for the Mavic 3 as well. Now, that's the coolest thing right there. The flip out prongs. It annoys me to no end when you have a power brick with fixed prongs. It just takes up needless space in your bag. So having the little flip up, flip down plug, love that. And the USB-C. So USB-C will charge the remote and it will charge the battery. So let's take a look at the aircraft. So as it comes out of the box, you have this strange medieval torture device on it here, which you just flip up and it pops off. And when you put it back, you just kind of flick it over that and then pop it down. And there's a little magnet there to hold it in place. So much better than the old clear ones that took forever to figure out how to get back on there. It is big, but you know, once it's on there, it's really not taking up any space. So to me, that's not really a problem. And it's a interesting material. It's almost kind of a leatherette type thing. And while it does look strange, it is much easier to put on here. And here we have the Mavic 3. Long, long awaited. So, of course, we'll talk about the camera. You have 2 cameras in one right here. So you have your main 4/3 sensor. That boggles my mind that there is actually a 4/3 sensor in here. A 4/3 sensor is not small. It's pretty big. So in comparison, here's what a 4/3 sensor looks like in comparison to like the 1-inch that we have on the Air 2S and the Mavic 2 Pro, and the standard 1/2/3 sensor, which we see on most of the other drones. So on top of that, well, let's talk about that one. That is the main camera. Now, this can do 5.1K footage, and it can do that at up to 50 frames per second. That's pretty impressive. Now, it would be nice if it could just get a little bit more and get to that 60 frames per second for some of us who prefer to shoot in 30 frames per second for our YouTube videos and stuff. But 50 frames per second, pretty easy to drop down to 24 frames per second if you're doing that. It can also do, let's see, 4K up to 120 frames per second, but the 4K 60 on here, whew, awesome. Really cool. And 1920 1080 at up to 200 frames per second. Talk about some awesome slow motion. This is just incredible. Now, for our bit rate, we can do H.264 or H.265 at 200 megabits. That's twice the data rate that the Mavic 2 Pro had. Stunning, stunning footage is what we're talking about. We should be able to get amazing, amazing footage on here. So just, it's just crazy. Now, this is the standard version. There's this and there's the Cine version. The Cine version also adds a 1 terabyte internal storage. This one only has 8 gigs and it can shoot in ProRes 422HQ. This is not the Cine version, but it can also do, ProRes is the same. It could do 5.1K at 50, 4K at 120, and yeah, 4K up to 120. So it can do the same resolutions in ProRes, but those files are going to be ginormous. They're going to be huge. And for most people's purposes, you don't need ProRes, so going with the standard version is going to be sufficient. Then you have this other camera on here. Now this is a 1/2-inch CMOS sensor, which is still a pretty good size sensor to pack along with a 4/3. So that's also incredible. And there's a few little gotchas with this thing. When you're shooting photos, it can only do JPEG. When you're doing videos, it's only in automatic mode. You have no shutter control or ISO or anything. It's just pure automatic. Now, it can do H.264 and 265, so there's that. And it only does 30 frames per second. That's it. Whether you're in 4K or 1080, it can only do 30 frames per second. And while we heard a lot about it being a 7 times optical zoom, that's only a piece of the puzzle. Now, the main camera has digital zoom, and the digital zoom is pretty good. At 2 times, it's actually pretty good. But as you get into 4 times, yeah, things are going to start getting mushy because it's just a digital zoom. It's just making stuff up, basically. The top camera is fixed. It's fixed at both aperture and zoom. So the zoom is a fixed 7x optical. So you can't go from 1 to 7 or anything. It's 7 times optical zoom, and that's it. Now, it also has digital zoom, and you can go way up. I think it's like 24 times. Ridiculous for video. Nothing's really going to look good. So you have your native on here, which is going to be your 1 times, and your native on the top, which is going to be 7 times. Anything aside from those is going to be digital zoom. So if you want the best possible image quality, you're either going to go with the 1 time zoom on the bottom or the 7 times zoom on the top. Now, you have to go into what they call Explorer mode. Not sure why, but why there's a separate mode for it, but that's what turns on the zoom functionality, and you can start at 1 and go up to 24 as you zoom, but what you're going to see is it's going to go basically 1, 2, 4, 7, and then start going up from there. So again, best possible image quality, 1x and 7x. Just keep that in mind. Now this front bezel comes off very easily, just like the Mavic 2 Pro, and that's how ND filters pop onto here. The standard kit does not come with any ND filters, but the Fly More combo and the Cine both come with a good selection of ND filters. The look on here is, I mean, I love this look. It's this darker gray and everything else is black accents. Really a sharp looking drone. All right, let's start on the front. So we have 2 obstacle avoidance sensors, and instead of being straight out, they're angled out. So they provide a much wider field of view when you're flying. So that's gonna help keep things a little safer. We'll go to the side. There's really no sensors on the side like we saw on the Mavic 2 Pro, which is fine because they only worked in tripod mode. So that was kind of a letdown on that. On the back, we have 2 more sensors that are both, again, angled out, so they give a really wide field of view, so really help keep this thing protected. There's 2 sensors on the top, and on this side, again, there's nothing. Now, again, what did we not see looking around here? That's the SD card slot, so we'll get to that. On the bottom, we've got some vision sensors down here. We have an auxiliary light for landing, and the sensor for its landing position on there. Okay, let's turn to the back, and we have the battery. And, you know, when I saw pictures and other videos of it, I thought the battery looked really, really big. And in my hand, it actually doesn't feel as big as I expected it to, which that's kind of nice. And again, just slides in, locks really securely in place. I like that. And then on the back here, there's this little door, and if we flip that open, we have the USB-C port and we have the micro SD port. And I am going to give DJI some mad props on here because I can get the SD card in and out without a tool. One of the first products that I can remember, aside from maybe the Phantom 4, where it was actually not that difficult to get the SD card slot in or out. It's not as good as it could be, but I can actually do it without losing my mind. And like all other DJI products, the card goes in up what I think is upside down. So those contacts are facing the top of the drone, which just totally seems backwards to me. And so with the USB port, unless you have another charger, this is how you're going to charge the battery. You're just going to plug the USB-C into here, and plug this into the wall. Okay, can you charge this with basically any power bank? Well, no, it needs a lot of juice. This is a 65 watt power supply. So you're not going to plug this into your computer's USB port and get a charge off it. And even if it did, it would take days because that's usually 0.5 to 2 watts versus 65 watts. And there's no other way of charging this battery. So if you have multiple batteries, you got to get the 3-port charging hub. Otherwise, the only way to charge them is in the drone. So hopefully we'll see third-party chargers from companies like Energen, who make all the other chargers for all the other DJI products. So hopefully they're going to be working on a Mavic 3 charger here pretty soon. So really cool stuff there. The arms, they fold just like the Mavic. So when it's folded, it's right about the same size. When it's opened, it's pretty damn close to the same size. And the props, we don't see that little like vortex pop up at the end like we've seen for the last couple years. So that's interesting that these are different. But we'll have to see how that all performs. And then we have the remote control. We have our joysticks plugged into the bottom here for easy storage. The top lifts up for you to insert your phone in here. It comes pre-done with an Apple Lightning cable, and you're good to go. So this is your basic DJI Mavic 3. So let's go out. We're going to get some footage, see how it flies, and see what we think about it. So stay right there. We'll be right back. Okay, we've had a chance to go out and fly today, and it performs really well. Very happy with it. I would say it's a little twitchy right out of the box. So I did turn down the EXP settings to get that a little smoother. And I really like flying in the cine mode, just when I'm really getting nice, smooth shots. That worked really well. And the image quality on here is awesome. I mean, I'm really, really enjoying the image quality off of here. So we did some stuff up in the mountains, flying over some rivers and things. Absolutely gorgeous footage. Couldn't be happier with it. Now, as you see on some of those clips, on the bottom, almost everything was shot in 4K 30 using D-Log, and then it was color graded using DJI's log to Rec 709 LUT. So pretty easy to just color grade. I might have adjusted color just a hair just to give it a little extra boost, but nothing real crazy there. And then some other shots of the old Sugar Factory, those were done in normal color mode. Those were not done in log. And those colors are awesome. I mean, things look great. In a normal situation, I don't know that I need to shoot in D-Log anymore. I can probably just shoot in normal and things are going to look absolutely stunning. So very, very happy with it. Now, this is not supposed to be our whole review of this product. We've got a lot more to cover. We've got all the different shooting modes. We've got other things that we really want to look at and play around with. And we just didn't have time to get out today to put enough time in the air. But we're going out again, and we'll come back and we'll do a little bit more review, see what else we've changed, see if there's some settings that we adjusted, things that will help you get the most out of your Mavic 3. So thanks for watching, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.